Today, we're looking at the best duos from every NBA team. And with how this offseason went down, this is going to be completely different than the video for last year. Since it is the offseason though, this is going to be based on how I expect these duos to play in the upcoming 2019 and 20 season, considering how players age and develop. And again, for guys like Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and John Wall, even if they won't be back this season, we're assuming how they would play once they get healthy. So just for an example, the Nets duo can still be Kyrie and KD, just so it doesn't have to be Kyrie and a guy like Caris LeVert. But with that said, let's start with number 30, with the Hornets and Terry Rozier and Nick Batum. It's sad that this is even an NBA team's best duo, but they are and don't even rank ahead of some of the duos with rookies who we haven't seen play a game in the league yet. Like number 29 that belongs to the Memphis Grizzlies, for Jonas Valanciunas and Ja Morant. Now this duo could have either been with Jaren Jackson Jr. or Valanciunas, but I chose Jonas because he put up 20 and 10 for the games he played for Memphis last year. And I think along with Ja, these guys are gonna have the ability to move up in the rankings a lot throughout the year. The number 28 spot goes to the Knicks with Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. And I almost ranked the Grizzlies duo higher because I see RJ being a guy that's either going to go on real hot or cold streaks in his rookie season. But I still put them ahead because as the best player on the Knicks in a starting role, I do expect Randle to have a huge year. The 27th spot goes to the Cavs for Kevin Love and Colin Sexton, which isn't an exciting duo, and it's one that I don't expect to be around for too long because hopefully Kevin gets traded. Then 26 belongs to the Magic for Nikola Vucevic and Aaron Gordon. Some people might have expected Orlando's duo to be ranked higher, but they're the Magic. And I don't expect Aaron's game to improve too much this year, and even though Vucevic had the best regular season of his career last season, he got dominated by the Raptors defense in the playoffs. On the other hand, number 25 goes to the Chicago Bulls for their duo of Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen. I really expect both of these guys to take their games to another level this year, and they can do that by really just working on being more of a duo and running pick and rolls more often. Then once everyone on the Bulls gets their team chemistry in order is when I think they'll start winning real games. The 24 spot goes to the Pelicans for Zion Williamson and Jrue Holiday, which is the highest ranked duo involving a rookie, and with Drew's defense and 22 points a game, and with how good Zion is expected to be, I think this is a good spot for them. Number 23 might be a little questionable with the Oklahoma City Thunder and Chris Paul and Danilo Gallinari. This is just a strange duo and things didn't turn out as expected for OKC. But even though Chris is on the downswing, without Harden, I'm sure he's going to be a lot better than the 15 and 8 that he averaged with him. Plus, Gallinari's playing the best of his career. So with the rest of their roster and with these two guys as OKC's duo, they could honestly lead the Thunder to a pretty surprising record. Number 22 goes to the Hawks with John Collins and Trae Young. And with another year of development for these two guys, it was easy to rank them here. And I will say that Atlanta's roster really is starting to fill up with a lot of young talent, to the point where some guys could get lost in the mix. But this duo easily won't because they're the centerpieces of it. And once they can start helping their team really win games, they're going to move up a lot on this list in the near future. Then number 21 had to go to the Kings with Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox, because they're one of the better backcourts in the league, and both of their games should take a big leap this year. And I did want to give Marvin Bagley one of these spots, but since it'll only be his first year as a starter, he didn't make the cut. Number 20 may be a controversial one based on how you look at it, with the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. Booker put up 26 a game, will possibly score more this year, and Ayton averages a double-double. On a winning team, these guys would rank much higher, but because they aren't, because of the competition ahead of them, and because they're the Suns, they only rank here. Then number 19 goes to the Timberwolves with Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. And for as much of a hard time as everyone gives Wiggins, he's still a decent player. Just because he was a first overall pick, way overhyped in high school, and is definitely overpaid, doesn't take away from the fact that he's still a 19 point per game career scorer in the NBA. And combining him with a top 3 center in the league, if you're not including Anthony Davis as a center, is why they rank here. And again, just like the Suns, if they got more wins, it would improve their ranking. Number 18 is a tough one, with the Washington Wizards, with their duo of Bradley Beal and John Wall. So this one was a toss-up on where to really rank the Wizards. But I put them here based on how good Bradley Beal is, and assuming Wall still comes back as a solid player. Number 17 goes to the Miami Heat for their duo of Jimmy Butler and Justice Winslow. And this was a pretty hard duo to rank because with Jimmy on the team, it's almost a confirmed playoff spot for the Heat. I mean, he brings wins to whatever team he's on. And I even wanted to rank him higher, but with Justice Winslow being the second option, it did have to drop him down. But even with Winslow, this duo still ranks 2 spots higher than the Wolves because, I mean, Jimmy beat the starters with the third stringer. Then number 16 is when things really start to pick up, with the Toronto Raptors having Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam, who are freshly coming off a championship run. Now that Kawhi's gone though, I don't expect this team to be anything of a real threat in the playoffs, but since he is gone, Siakam can possibly either not play as good without Kawhi, or have another breakout year, which I think he will. And combined with Lowry's consistency, they're still going to be a great regular season team. Number 15 belongs to the Pistons, with Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. And while I'm not a big fan of Drummond or the Pistons, Andre's been averaging nearly 17 and 16 the past 2 seasons, and he's still not even in his prime yet. And Blake Griffin's really hitting his stride as a player recently. He's hitting more threes than ever, and that's helping spread the floor for himself and Drummond to coexist. Plus, Blake is clearly the league's 3rd best power forward, if you're including Giannis as a power forward, and I can definitely see him putting up 28 a game next year, even though Detroit as a team will probably still have a first round exit. The number 14 spot belongs to the Boston Celtics for the duo of Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum. And I really had a hard time with where to rank this duo, but this is where I eventually settled on. I mean, they're gonna win a lot of games, most likely gonna be a top 4 seed in the East, and Tatum's going to improve as a player and play better with Kemba than what he did with Kyrie Irving. 13 goes to the Pacers for Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner. And of course Victor's coming back from an injury, but if we're assuming he comes back the same player, himself and Miles Turner are not only one of the best defensive duos on this list, but they lead their team to wins. Oladipo makes everyone around him better, and him on the perimeter with Turner down low is really what makes the Pacers who they are. Their ranking is really just dependent on Miles Turner and if he can make improvements on the offensive end though. Then ranked ahead of them is the San Antonio Spurs with the number 12 spot that belongs to DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. And it's another guard and big man duo. We all know these guys will probably lead the Spurs to the 8th seed and don't have many other expectations than them maybe making it to the 2nd round. But even with the low hopes, that doesn't stop them from making it nearly into the top 10 duos in the league. DeRozan's still a top shooting guard, and Aldridge's game really hasn't declined much at all with his age. A much younger duo though is number 11, with the Dallas Mavericks having Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. And this spot is assuming Porzingis finally returns to the court and is the same player. And if he does, and he is, I expect these two guys to not only have some of the best chemistry in the NBA, but to improve the most compared to their last seasons. I still don't think they'll be a playoff team though because of the rest of their roster, but it still wouldn't be surprising to see at least one of these guys as an all-star in 2020. Another young duo is number 10 in Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. The offense of Mitchell and the defense of Gobert has always been perfect complements to each other, and they had to rank higher than the Mavs duo because they've been together longer and because of Porzingis' long absence. And you might think that Mike Conley and Donovan could be considered their top 2, but coming off of his 2nd straight Defensive Player of the Year season, it definitely has to go to Rudy. Then keeping the theme of young players, number 9 goes to the duo of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. And I really expect Jokic to be a top tier MVP candidate this season, something that couldn't be done without Jamal Murray, which is why I feel the Nuggets gave him so much money. And I feel like people don't give Murray enough credit, putting up 18 a game on a crowded Nuggets team. But his and Nikola's chemistry on the court is something that's going to keep them as a top team in the league for a very long time. Then number 8 goes to Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Alright, now I know a lot of people are going to say this duo should be ranked higher, with a lot of people thinking they belong in the number 4 spot, because I mean they are the only team in the league with 2 former MVPs on the roster. And while I think they're going to be one of the clear best teams in the regular season, I have doubts about how they'll perform in the postseason, so that's why they drop down in my mind. But on the other hand, number 7 goes to Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. 2 guys that have nothing left to prove. As of right now, they're arguably the 2nd best backcourt in the NBA, and even though CJ's still never been an all-star, Dame's the 2nd best point guard in the league, so he makes up for it. We've seen these guys' chemistry for years, and we know what they can do, so not really too much needs to be said here. In a similar situation though is number 6 with Giannis and Chris Middleton, which is another situation where the 2nd member of the duo isn't necessarily a star, but he complements Giannis perfectly, which is why the Bucks overpaid him so much to keep him. And while talking about all these other stars and then thinking about how Middleton got a near max contract, it really makes you realize just how overpaid he is. But I mean, like I said, since he helps the reigning MVP be as good as he has been, I guess we can't complain. Then number 5 goes to Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Simmons is coming out shooting threes this year. I don't know about making them, but I'm sure he's gonna be shooting them. And Joel's gonna have another monster year. These guys have size and height over everyone, and the same thing as the Nuggets. If these guys can stay together for a long time, they can stay a championship level team for years. And usually you'd think since their roster is so stacked that their production might drop, but I think it'll be the opposite for them because now they have so many threats on offense that can play great without the ball. So it's going to open up the floor for them to score a lot more often. Then in what might be an unpopular opinion, number 4 goes to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Klay won't be healthy till towards the All-Star break, but if we're talking about when he is healthy, the Splash Brothers do deserve this 4th spot. After everything that's happened, people seem to have forgotten how dominant they were even before Durant. Curry's the best point guard and one of the best offensive players in the game, and Klay's the 2nd best shooter ever. Great on defense and arguably the 2nd best shooting guard in the game today. And they have a proven championship track record together, which is something no one else on this list has as a duo. Then number 3 goes to Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And like I said at the start of the video, I know injuries affect this one too, because KD won't be playing all year long, but we're talking about if he was healthy and freshly recovered from that injury. To keep it interesting, and even though he won't completely be his old self when he returns, we saw just how great Kyrie Irving was as a sidekick to LeBron James. So in this role with KD, we should have similar expectations, because I mean, even though Kevin won't be as explosive, he still has the ability to and will shoot over anyone in the league, which really can still get him up to 25 a night on average. Then number 2 was a no-brainer in LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Some people have these guys as the best duo in the league, but they slightly fell to number 2 for me. LeBron's as smart of a player as there is, and with him running the pick and roll with Anthony Davis, these guys are going to be dominant all season long. With a top small forward in the game that averaged 27, 8, and 8, along with the best power forward who has the potential to easily be an MVP and the best player in the league, who just got done putting up 26, 12, and 4, is why the Lakers are one of the best championship favorites going into this year. And then finally, obviously number 1 goes to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. These guys beat out LeBron and AD, and I mean every other duo in the NBA, because Kawhi's the reigning champ. And this is the best defensive duo by a long shot. We're putting together 2 MVP candidates that are 2 of the best two-way players in the game, and both average at least 26 a game. On offense, either of these guys could go off any given night, while at the same time on defense, they're gonna shut down the other team's backcourt, or really their 2 best players, that don't play center on a nightly basis. Which definitely makes this as one of the most exciting things for this upcoming season. And really all of these duos are exciting. So comment down below and let me know which 2 guys you're looking forward to seeing playing together the most this year, and also leave your thoughts on the rest of this list. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next video.